Welcome, Wellness Crew, to the YouTube video accompaniment of episode 4 of the Cult of Wellness, which was about knowing thyself. I'm sorry for the weird lighting. I have my computer right here because I did take down some notes so that way I wouldn't forget what I wanted to talk about. This video, what I really wanted it to be about was more about how I learned about myself, or kind of supplementing on to the podcast about that. The steps that I took, the things that I did, and the things that I continue to do and have a very, try to make things a daily habit that are nurturing for me and positive for me. So first off, how I learned more about myself is I had the luxury of time too. I was able to not have a 9-to-5 job and be able to put focus and everything into this. And this has been something that's been going on for a while now. I started my podcast last year, but then decided to remove all of the episodes just because they got a little bit too personal and I didn't want too much of my information being out there. So after getting rid of the episodes, I was like, okay, something's telling me that I really want to create more episodes, new episodes. And so I just decided, when I was doing all this inner work and stuff, I just decided, like, hey, that's my passion, but why not add to it? So that's when the idea for having a YouTube channel, just basically to accompany the podcast, that kind of grew a little bit recently. And I was like, well, I can also make content that's not directly related to the podcast and maybe just have it on a mix or something, to keep things separate and very organized for everybody. But I then also thought about TikTok, so I tried that out, and I'm in it less than 24 hours, and I have over 1,100 views, which I was not expecting at all. The number I was expecting was so much lower. So it meant a lot that the content that I have on YouTube speaks to people on TikTok, and that's honestly what got the most views, was my very first video on YouTube that I uploaded. So being able to continue to create content that's like this, that's uplifting, that's positive, love it. So yeah, I learned more about myself by kind of getting more in touch with my passions, with my hobbies, with making use of free time, but not wasting it, but by, doing stuff like working out and things I'll get to on the list. So the first thing I put was journaling and inner work. So inner work for me is more of like the structured type journal prompts. And I find those to be really helpful because when we're just writing about our day, sometimes it's very easy to not be in gratitude, or to not be really trying to make that shift, that change that creates almost just like a magnet for everything positive. So journaling, I would do gratitude journaling. I still do every day. I do regular journaling, so just like, kind of talking about my day, but I make sure that the language that I use when I write is very careful, and it's all super like just oriented positively. Not having anything to complain about is incredible. And while technically, yeah, sure I do, I guess, I don't allow that to define me or to affect my energy. Inner work, same thing, journaling, doing, in my opinion, doing certain types of stretches and stuff to get your hips more loosened up so you don't have as much trauma that you're carrying in your hips. But that's just me. Practicing affirmations daily. This has been so important. In my journal that I just got a few days ago, I already have 50 something pages worth of affirmations that I've written down. And oftentimes what I'll do is I'll write down the affirmation and then read it out loud. And it just feels to me like it really helps manifest it. Another thing that you can do is have your affirmation and write it down over and over and over again just to get it stuck in your head, and to really try and keep that positive mindset. But yes, I do practice affirmations daily. Moving my body. So when I say moving my body, I mean changing my body language and becoming more soft and feminine. For me personally, that just spoke way more to me than the way I was acting and behaving before with my body language. I was usually very cut off and kind of like that all the time. And now it's more about being open and flowing. And it feels like a lot of progress for me because I spent a lot of time working on developing my RBF. Because I was like, I don't want people to hit on me, or I don't want to be bothered. I would stop wearing makeup. I would do everything in my power. Not because I think I'm full of myself or anything like that, but just because I would feel unsafe sometimes. So now that I've done a lot of work on feeling safe, that's in my inner work, is, working on feeling safe, feeling secure. It really, really has helped with my self-esteem and confidence, and not having as many issues accepting compliments and being able just to say thank you and leaving it at that and not letting it get to my head either. So yeah, moving my body in a much more feminine way, making sure like I have my whole life. So this is super authentic, but I'm a big hip shaker, probably because I'm Hispanic, half Hispanic, obviously. But making all of my movements just a little bit more open and inviting, and definitely more not contagious, that's the wrong word, but being a lot more expressive, that's the word. Not having a problem using my body effectively in that way, without being super threatening or super aggressive. So I retook the Enneagram test. If you don't know a lot about Enneagram, it's basically like 9 different types of personalities. If you go to crystalknows.com, so crystalknows.com, they have a really great test that you can take on there, and you can take like a love language test, you can take a personality test, and you can also take the Enneagram test to find out a lot about your personality. And I've been really into this. I have multiple audiobooks on it. They're right. But what was so crazy was making that switch from being a 6 to being a 7. And once you do some research on the Enneagram and things like that, then you'll come back, you'll be like, oh, okay, now I know what that means. finding my passion. So definitely creating content has been my most recent passion foray. But I've been doing this for a while. Like I said, the Cult to Wellness has just been a rebrand. Yes, I did delete all of my old episodes because I said, you know what, I'm not mentally or physically in the state that I want to be in to have those be as successful as I know that they can be. So definitely, the podcast, YouTube, TikTok, anything to get it out there. If you want to, or I've stated this already out into the universe, that I'm a content creator. And so when I focus on that and I focus on, okay, well, I need to stay in my creative mind, it's so helpful. It makes the day go by really quickly. And I'm really passionate about everything that I'm talking about. So it's definitely satisfying. Improving my relationship with my higher power. So I talked a little bit about this in one of my previous YouTube videos called Higher Power. Reconnecting with that relationship has been super important for my growth, and especially for my spiritual growth. So, even if you've never had a higher power, connecting with one, finding one, and this is all going to be covered, well, that small aspect will be covered tomorrow on the podcast. I guess today actually, because we're already on the 15th. So at 12 o'clock it gets released. Self-care. So this was something that I used to have so much guilt about and not wanting to spend time in the shower, like if it's like scrubbing my hair with one of those brushes for dandruff or something. It's like there's all these little, self-care things, putting lotion on, taking care of your skin. But something that really helped me flip around was finding these, I believe they're called EMR or EMS machines, and they work toward tightening the body and the face, because I have a face sculptor as well. And so even doing little things like that, it just makes me feel better, like, hey, I am investing time in making myself look better, but in the way that I can currently afford. I say currently because that's all going to change because of manifestation. That's what I believe, and whatever you believe is your reality. Creating every day. So creating or generating ideas, creating content, obviously the script work when it comes to the podcast. Those things are what make me happy, and they really fill that creative outlet that I have, because I do sing and I play instruments and I dance. So there's a lot of things that I enjoy doing, but it just didn't feel like they were really able to kind of also bring back the whole coaching aspect for me and how much I loved it. So this has seemed to be a better route to take, a better way to go, and I've really enjoyed doing it. Stopped accepting less for myself by studying feminine energy and aiming to give everything I do maximum effort. So I sincerely do try to at least give the most energy I possibly can, if not the most effort all the time. I believe that some things should just be easy and flow. They shouldn't be difficult. So maximum effort for me is showing up at the best I am in that moment it's not perfection. And by studying feminine energy, like I said, I've really noticed a abundance of opportunities just popping up, and I'm really grateful for them. Made goals or making goals. So yeah, with goals, talking about your big goals, breaking them down into smaller steps, or just going off and saying, hey, I want to just create these big goals and see where they're going to take me, almost as another form of manifestation, as a form of an affirmation. You can do that too, and there's no limit. There really is no limit. The limits that we set are set on ourselves out of fear and insecurity. So if you just want to have big goals, then just have big goals. And the last thing that I started doing was meditating again. So when I was younger, I did study Buddhism, and I was able to meditate for like 10 to 15 minutes at a time without any, breaks in consciousness or having any interruptions. I had to work up to it, obviously. It didn't just happen overnight. But recently, getting back into meditating, it feels different because I don't feel like I'm competing to hit that mark again or to hit that time. I meditate for as long as it feels good, as long as, I'm really taking nice deep breaths in and out and my body's starting to relax. I aim for 5 to 15 minutes a day. And I also think you can do moving meditation. I think yoga is a great way to do that. There's a pliability app that's out there for mobility and flexibility. And what I love about that app is that the holds are for a long time. So, you have to really continuously work on your breathing. So it's almost like a moving meditation. I mean, you're holding poses for 2 to 5 minutes at a time, but it's a moving meditation, in case you're ADHD like me and get distracted by regular meditation. But I do both. I've really seen the great benefits. I've seen a better connection with my higher power, and I've just noticed a difference in how I feel. I feel much lighter. I don't feel so heavy, and it feels like it's just positive light inside of me right now. And I would love to figure out a way to explain, how exactly to get here step by step. And hopefully the journaling and stuff will be able to kind of bring me back and be able to be like, okay, this is what I did step by step. But definitely journaling and inner work, practicing affirmations daily, moving my body in a more feminine way, changing my body language, retaking the Enneagram test, finding my passion, and not only that, but also, taking steps towards it. Improving my relationship with my higher power, self-care, creating every day, not accepting less for myself by studying feminine energy, and aiming to give everything I do maximum effort, making goals, and meditating. So I think as long as you're doing those things, as well as whatever else you can think of, you really are going to find that way to know yourself and to feel better about yourself, because you're going to know your true authentic self, and that is exactly where you'll be able to operate out of. Thank you so much for watching.